Well, we are live from the heartland, wall to wall, treetop tall, coast to coast, border to border, and beyond. I'm Jeffrey Darden, the Christian whistleblower. Welcome into the house tonight. They say I'm demon possessed. They're right, but not in the way they think they are. And that should be their greatest fear. And trust me, I'm the most feared man in social media. And for good reason. Tonight, we've got a great D program for you. I think you're going to be very excited about it. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And I think you're going to learn a thing or two. We're broadcasting tonight over Rockfin, our go-to platform. Cloud Leopard is here. Human Experience is here. Samo Wonders is here. Dirigible is also here. Nice to see all of you folks showing up on the Rockfin side of the house. Many of you I can see are kind of shy because you haven't popped your face into the chat room yet, and that's okay. You don't have to come into the chat room. I just want to make sure I'm in the right spot here. This looks a little weird to me. And we'll go ahead and pop this in and make sure that everything is all good to go. It looks like it's good to go. There we go. That looks more like it. Joni Marshall is also here. Lit T is here. Nina's here. D Shaman 83 is here. Bonnie's the Best is here. I think I said Nina already. Daniel Carpenter. Dead Neo. Odin's Daughter. Cree Mullen, and Mind Over Magic. Great to see all of you. And on the YouTube side of the house, Archbishop Richard Foreskin sends his holy, eternal, omnipresent greetings. James here. Phoenix Joshua Fox is here, and he says, thanks for all the hard work you put into your shows. It's a breath of fresh air in this foul world. I'm looking forward to the show. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Mind Over Magic is here. We're broadcasting on Flee the Watchtower channel. We are broadcasting on Evangelical Hour channel. We're broadcasting on Unindoctrinate with Jeffrey Darty channel. We're broadcasting on Twitch as well. I'm not sure why. For Jama. That's the only reason. And yeah, that's about it. Scuba Meru's here. I Own Sky is here. Stormy Flores, can't believe she made it. She did. Cruz Michael is here. Tammy Miles is here. Jama, the aforementioned Jama is here. Christie's here. Zeus Crowley, Super Galactic. Steve Borg, Resistance. Wolf God is here in the house. Who else? Vicky for now. Yes, Demon Possessed Vicky. Are you new here? Jack Nelson is around. Cheryl Ann is here. Gia's here. Derek Hurlbert is here. Rory Reef. Thank you, sir. And Dana Young. So, what do you say we jump right into this? I say let's do so. And let's do so with a flourish. So, there it is. There I am. And here we go. Demons and evil spirits, oh my, as Joe Sapiens checks in. As pagans, as heathens, we have a conundrum. And I'm not talking about the thing that makes you feel bad and weird and kind of self-conscious to call yourself a pagan or a heathen, because those words have been so demonized and so bastardized by the Judeo-Christian dominant Judeo-Christian culture that we forget that we were pagans and heathens for at least 50,000 years, and we've only been bad pagan heathens in the Judeo-Christian term for about 1,000 years. So pagan conundrum number 2 is that we pagans are nature-based. And being nature-based, we don't believe in demons. And yet, Colin Braniff, so many people that are pagan have experienced what they would equate to and call demons. So it makes them some bit of a conundrum. I hope to explain that tonight. And I hope you'll understand what I explained tonight. We are nature-based. So how does a nature-based spirituality acknowledge the existence of demons and evil spirits when the whole idea of evil contradicts our foundational beliefs? Well, generally speaking, pagans see divinity expressed in archetypes of nature. And these archetypes are creative and destructive. Nature is creative. Things grow, things are born. Nature is destructive. There are fires, there are storms. Nature's creative and destructive. Helmet, spear, shield understands this. The darker entities, those that we relate as being darker, Byron, are those that tend to be of what we call a destructive nature. They are intense, they are wild, and they are overwhelming, and as such, call for a much more reasoned and measured approach. Darker entities need not be avoided and must be greatly respected. Vicky, with all due respect, no, you didn't. You told you were. Don't buy it, and don't allow yourself to be saddled with that. And I have a feeling that you want to hold on to it. Oh, yes, I was. I had a demon. Why? Let it go, girl. No, I could be wrong. But just a feeling, just a feeling. So if you don't feel an affinity towards a deity, don't work with it, which would eliminate about 95% of Christians, because 95% of Christians are just there because of eternal fire insurance. But anyway, let's move on. Demons and spirits, oh my. What are demons? Well, what is deity? A deity is the God of the Bible. Really? Well, people that actually think recognize deities as archetypes, sparks, and partners. I know it's kind of new. It's from me. And maybe I should have said mainly, or perhaps basically, deities are threefold in experience. How do you really experience deity? How do you really experience God? Well, number one way that we experience the reality of deity is through a personified expression of natural energies. What is in you expressed is a expression of deity. What's in you? I talk about the spark of divinity. What's in you, right? That is deity. You're not born with original sin. You're born with the spark of the divine within. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a personified expression of natural energy. You're a part of nature. And just by that, you have a experiential expression of deity. And if you have aligned yourself with any advanced spirituality, then you have even more of a spark. It's starting to be more of maybe a burning ember. And then there's externalized expressions of our inner divine spark. And I didn't really realize this, but it's a nice progression here. Personified expression of natural energy. You have natural divinity in you because you're created by gods. And then once you learn to take your will from inside you and manifest it out into the world, that externalized expression of your inner divine spark is an expression of deity. Can I get a hell yeah? I'm on YouTube. And then externalized expressions of our divine spark. That's what I'm talking about. And then finally, Manda, nice to see you. Well, blow me down in Yale Timber. Nice to see you. partners in aggressive magical workings, deity. So it's kind of a 1, 2, 3 learning continuum. Number 1, the internal spark of the divine. Number 2, you learning to externalize and use an internal spark. And number 3, you're getting so good at it that you get to a place where we don't really worship gods very much. We don't really worship goddesses very much, but we work with them. And we work with them in what is called aggressive magic. You'll have to catch up on some of the past deprograms to see what we're doing. So what is a demon? A demon is just a word that Judeo-Christians have attached to the aggressive energies at our disposal. And they've attached this word demon or evil spirit to these energies that are at our disposal in effort to scare you off from using them and to scare others away from you if you decide to use them. Are you with me? Your divine energies have been branded as demons, have been branded as evil spirits by the people that don't want you to use them because they know when you do, the very least you won't need them anymore, but the very most you will come after them, and we are. And we are. I like it. I like it a lot. I also like Focus Life Force Energy and Nanosoma because we're talking about ways here, esoteric ways to help you better yourself. Focus Life Force Energy is an energetic way to help you better yourself. It sends you a high consciousness environment 24/7, 365 to your home or your phone. And it allows you to be in a high consciousness environment, which makes you better, stronger, faster, spiritually speaking. And Nanosoma, when you take it into your body, it knocks everything out of your body that's not supposed to be there, and it makes you better, stronger, and faster physically. So go to jeffreydarty.com, hit the beautiful Nanosoma logo, hit the beautiful Focus Life Force Energy logo, change your life. And by the way, Focus Life Force Energy gives you a full 30 days for free. So now we know what demons are. Now we know what demons are. And once upon a time, we all knew this. We all understood that we were divine, sovereign, and free. We all understood we had the spark of divinity within. We all understood how to begin to manifest our internal divinity into the external world. And we all understood working with the gods and the goddesses. There was a time when we all knew this, but it's said that the gods die when they are forgotten. And we allowed the Judeo-Christians to make us forget about our gods. And once we forget about our gods, they get turned into demons. They get turned into evil spirits by the Judeo-Christian New World Order. And all they are is personified expressions of natural energies. So what they call demons do exist. What they call evil spirits do exist. They're just archetypical energies associated with the more aggressive and destructive energies available in nature and in our human nature. Are you with me? Now, so when the Judeo-Christians say that I personally am demon-possessed, they are correct. Not really, because I'm not possessed by any of these entities, because our entities aren't like the Judeo-Christian entity. The Judeo-Christian Bible, God wants to own and possess and dominate. Our gods are not that way. No one's ever been possessed by a pagan heathen spirit because they don't want to possess you. Not a true pagan heathen god or goddess. They want to work with us. They do not want to possess us. And frankly, they would not want to work with a human that was so pathetic that it would allow itself to be possessed by another entity. That's pathetic. And if you want to be pathetic, that's up to you. But I'm here tonight to tell you, you don't have to be. You can be divine, sovereign, and free. So let's talk a little bit about this idea of protection. Oh, Jeff, we need protection. You need protection if you're having sex with somebody you don't know. Then you should have some protection. But protection and this idea of spirit, oh, Jeff, you don't want to work with these energies. You need some protection. No, that's more fear porn. Do you need to be protected from you? Then you probably should wash your hands. Do you need to be protected from you? And if you do need to be protected from you, and some of you do, you don't need to shield yourself from you. You just need to make better decisions. There was a time in my life where I made terrible decisions. And it didn't change until I stopped making terrible decisions. And it didn't change until I realized that I was the one making the decisions. You see, this whole idea of needing shielding, first, it's from people that don't understand what the hell they're talking about. I've done a lot of shamanic work. And the only reason for shielding is to get you from point A to point B without being seen so you can do your deal. Shielding was never meant to be, oh, I'm going to put my shield on in the morning, put on the whole armor of God, I'm going to have the shield on and nothing can get me. No, that's silly. That's childish. And it certainly isn't nobody ever taught that actually understood how spiritual work works, or they understood it really good and wanted to make sure you didn't. That's not what shielding is about. Shielding is temporary because shielding only works temporarily. So stop being silly. This whole idea of shielding, as it's come into the truth or community, is nothing more than a spillover of Christian fear porn. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. And I'm about to show you something amazing tonight. I'm about to change your life. This is why the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That is a thoroughly Kabbalistic verse, and all you great, wonderful, studied Christians don't even know it. That's because Christians don't read the Bible. Hardly any of you read the Bible. If you're a Christian right now and you're listening, I'll guarantee you there's a 95% chance you have not read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. And then if you have read it, none of you studied it. Meaning gone into the original Greek and Hebrew. Well, I don't know those languages. Do you know the internet? It's called an interlinear. Oh, let me show you how it works. I'm about to blow your minds, cousins and visitors. We're going to look at Proverbs chapter 9, verse number 10. And you're going to see something you've probably never seen before. And I promise you, you will never, ever forget it. Watch this. I use Bible Hub not because I own it, not because I get paid for it, but because I think it's the easiest one to use. And if they knew I was using it, they'd probably cut off my access because they never quite thought it would be used in the way that I use it. I'm the last guy on social media that actually has respect for the original biblical text. I know that sounds funny, but it's true. I'm the last man standing on social media that actually has respect for the biblical text. I'm the only one that believes the biblical mandate in 2 Peter not to put any private interpretation on it, just to exegete it, just to let it say what it says. I'm the only one that does this. And this is why the so-called Christians are all to a man scared to death from me. From Joe Rizzoli to David Duke, they're afraid of this guy. And they should be. And they should be. Watch this. Let me mute here for a second and do a little bit of that. Okay, here we go. Watch this. Watch this. I got to make a confession to you. I didn't know this one. I did not know this one until today. But watch this. This is what we're looking at. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. You're not going to believe this. You see how that's blue? It lights up. It's a hyperlink. This is King James. Fear of the Lord, beginning of wisdom, knowledge of the holy is understanding. I went there just to talk about fear because what lying, I was going to say lying Judeo-Christians, it's the lying and the ignorant that do this. Oh, that just means reverence, Jeff. Most of them are not lying. They're just lazy. They've been told it means reverence, so they repeat it. And I'm going to show you that they shouldn't have repeated what they didn't know for themselves because they're going to look awfully unsophisticated. But not all of them are lazy. Some of them are liars. They know that it doesn't mean reverence. They know it means scared to death. And if being scared to death is the beginning of the wisdom of your God, what kind of God are you serving? You say, what a mighty God we serve. It's really what a frighty God you serve. But anyway, it lights up, so you click on it. It takes you to a more literal rendering of the text called the Berean Standard Bible. So the fear, and it still says fear. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Watch this. Fear. Oh, Jeff, it just means reverence. Really? Because it says 3374. That's the Strong Concordance word, and it means a fear. Okay. What else does it mean? It means awesome, extremely fear. 35 times fear. One time fearing. So 36 out of 42 uses means scared to death, wetting yourself. Watch. It means the number one, this is how, you know how a dictionary works. The most dominant meaning is listed first, which means what? Fear and terror. So fear and terror are the beginning of the wisdom of the Bible God. Fear and terror. Number two, a terror or object of terror. That's the basis of the wisdom of the Bible God. And then finally, number three, you get fear of God, reverence, piety. But if you go up here and look, these aren't just numbers in words that they, made up. This word is used as fear 35 times. Terror, fear, 35 times. Wow. It's only used as reverence 5 times. If you're a true scholar, you understand that if a word is used 35 times, that's the dominant meaning of the word. That's the dominant meaning of the word. Dreadful, fearful. So the beginning of the wisdom of the Lord is based on fear. If you're a Christian tonight, you are in a religion that's based on fear. And the fact of the matter that you came down that aisle because you were afraid of going to hell, you're afraid of missing the rapture, you're afraid of having to get your head cut off, you're afraid of the mark of the beast, proves that it's true. And the fear of what? The fear of the Lord. The proper name of the God of Israel. And can I ask you as a Christian, why the hell are you worshiping the God of Israel? And if you're a Christian identity person, why are you denying that it's the God of Israel? It's written right in your Strong's Concordance. Oh, that's right. You didn't even know there was a Strong's Concordance because you don't read, you don't study. You just repeat like a parrot. Polly want a cracker. Wah! That's how Christian identity and Christianity works. Repeat and repeat. The fear of the Lord. You know what? Some of you are married. And all of us have probably had a relationship. How would you like to be in a relationship with the man that you feared? How much fun would that be? How'd you like to be married to a man that you feared? How much fun would that be? Can I ask you just a plain question? Cynthia says not to use this word, but how stupid do you have to be in a relationship with a man that you fear? Well, maybe you're not stupid. Maybe you've just been beat so many times that your spirit is gone. Either way, it's a really bad analogy to why you have accepted a God of the same type and variety that demands you tremble in his presence. And this being terrified of your God, it's the beginning. It's the beginning. It's the first part. It's how it all starts. And it's so true because you can't get where the Bible God wants to take you unless you're scared to death, because if you were in your right mind, you wouldn't go there. But the beginning of being a servant of your God is terror. But what's it really the beginning of? It's the beginning of wisdom. Watch this. Wisdom. Do you see that word? That word is chokmah. Chokmah or hokmah. You don't get it, do you? You don't get it, do you? Let me show you something real quickly. Let me show you something real quickly that should absolutely blow your mind. I'm typing out blow your mind when I'm supposed to be typing out what I want to look at. That's funny. Say something out loud and type something else and see how easy it is to do. Not very. I need one of these things where I can actually read it. I'm looking up Kabbalistic trees of life, and they've got the names of the Sephiroth, and I'm trying to find one where I can read the names of the Sephiroth easily, so you can read it. Oh, okay. Oh, I love it when a plan comes together. All right. Remember, the beginning, fear of the Lord. Remember, fear of the Lord, the beginning of the fear of the Lord. Okay, let me go back. I'm getting a little excited. The fear of the Lord, being terrified of the Bible God, is the beginning of what? Of wisdom. Wisdom is what? Chokmah. And I'm not showing you it. I'll show you now. Getting a little ahead of myself. Let me share this. Sorry, still fighting through, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now we're back. I'll show you. Remember? The fear, the terror of the Bible God is the beginning of wisdom. What is wisdom? Wisdom is chokmah. Okay. Now I have to show you what chokmah is. Will this just pop up? Oh, it did. Look at that. This is the Kabbalistic tree of life. If you know anything about spirituality, you understand this is something you don't want to be involved in. It looks like a trap. It looks like a cage only because it is. And the beginning of the fear of the Bible God, or the fear of the Bible God, is the beginning of what? Wisdom. What's the word wisdom? Chokmah. That word right there. Do you see that? The beginning of, if you fear God, your right side has been enslaved in chokmah. You see it? Chokmah. Now, watch this. Wisdom, right? But look, there's more. Being terrified of the Bible God enslaves your right side to chokmah. But then knowledge, da'ath, knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. What's understanding? Bina. Like this over here. When you're scared to death of the Bible God, it allows him to lock you down and you actually would back into this on your left hand, receptive feminine side. It allows him to lock down your receptivity, your chokmah, lock you into chokmah. It allows him to lock down your right side into your masculine side into bina. And this to make sure he locks you down in the middle too. They don't show it here, but remember what it says? Remember what it said? Knowledge. Da'ath. But Jeff, I don't see da'ath on there. It's hidden. It's right here. They don't want you to know. Oh, Jeff, I don't know. I don't know if I buy that one. So watch this. They're intentionally hiding it, right? But let me find you one that shows it. I will find you one that shows it, that doesn't hide it. Watch this. I will find you one that doesn't hide it. One that shows da'ath. It's called da'ath coming out. Oh, boy, look at that. Look at that. I found you one, and it took me that long. So let's share this again. I wish there was an easier way to do all this. I'll have to get with Jaron and see if there is an easier way to do all this presenting. I don't know that there is. So, again, da'ath, remember? We already talked about chokmah, which has you locked down on your right-hand side, your left-hand side. Bina has you locked down on your right-hand side. And now to lock down your heart comes what? Da'ath. Where's your heart? In your very middle. Where's da'ath? It's right there. In the middle. And when he's got you locked down on your left, because you back into this, he's got you locked down on your left. He's got you locked down on your right. He's got you locked down in your heart. And he's got you looking like his dead rabbi on a stick hanging here with a crown that shuts down your spirituality. And he's got you. You've never seen anything like that before, have you? That's worth the price of admission. Somebody ought to tip this brother. He's killing it up here. He's killing it up here. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You don't even know what you're saying. It's thoroughly Kabbalistic, and you don't even know it. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people? I don't get it. We think we need protection, but you only need protection from the Bible God. We don't need protection from nature. We're part of nature. Now, if we do stupid things, then Nate will receive appropriate response from nature. But if we use our brain, we don't need protection from nature. And if we understand who we are, we don't need protection from our own nature. All we need protection from is this Bible God who's trying to steal our divinity, our sovereignty, and our freedom. Actually, he's trying to con us into giving it away. And so many of you have. You went down and you got on your knees in a position of surrender. You raised your hands in a position of surrender, and you gave away your eternal Thetan, your eternal spirit, to a God that's only going to bring your physical body back to life over and over and over. Read Romans 8:11 in the Greek like I've just showed you. You'll be shocked. But they've got us worried about being protected from ourselves. Even you so-called New Age gurus. Oh, shielding. We need to stop worrying about protecting ourselves and start seeking our power. Now, the only thing we really need to protect ourselves from is the proclivity of fallen power to lead to corruption. Well, Jeff, you know, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. No, what I know is that some idiot said that. But it's only true in the Judeo-Christian moral standard, which is immorality. The only way that power can corrupt, and the only way that absolute power can corrupt, is in a morally unjustified use of power. And we as pagans and we as heathens have a moral commandment never to wage war, never to use aggressive magic or aggressive energy in times of peace or in times of détente. And if you never use aggressive magic or aggressive energy in a time of peace, you will never, ever have to worry about the corrupting influence of power. If you never, ever use the aggressive spirituality, aggressive magic, or aggressiveness in a time of détente, you'll never, ever have to worry about the corrupting attributes of power, because the only people that power corrupts, the only people that absolute power corrupts absolutely, are those that are using it out of moral balance in times of peace or in times of détente. And if it happens to you, then you deserve it. You deserve it. Let me run right along because I got to get out here tonight and save my voice. A quick word about dualism versus polarity. Dualism is this good versus evil Judeo-Christian worldview lie. Polarity is the balanced interaction between creative and destructive natural forces, best emblemized or symbolized by the what's that thing called right there? You know, I can't remember what it's called right now. Dark paths are individualistic. We don't want to join your club. We don't need to be part of your great crowd. We don't need to be part of your body. We're quite happy being divine, sovereign, and free. We don't want to be sheep in your corral. We're wolves in our own nature. And we're non-structured. And we are aware of and take responsibility for our own damn actions. If we mess up, we do not blame the devil. If we mess up, we do not blame demons. And if we mess up, unless we're a new age retard, we don't blame bad karma either. We blame ourselves because we know we're the dudes and dudettes that do the deeds. There is no question about whose fault it is. It's ours. And there's also no question of whose credit it is. It's ours. Immature, idiotic automatons talk about demons and devils and karma. Now, deities play a varying role in our experience. This blows the Judeo-Christian mind. You've got to worship God. No, I don't. You've got to praise God. No, I don't. Why? Because you think I do. A lot of us never worship a God, but we might want to consider it. We're going to talk about that in the future. It's called entering into economies. But deities play varying roles in our experience, and we get to dictate the role they play, not them. Do you understand that a true deity doesn't want anything to do with a pathetic piece of meat that wants to beg and cry and grovel to it? They want nothing to do with you. Real divinity. Only loser divinities are going around picking up the scum of the earth that are whining and crying and bitching and moaning all the time, like Christians. We also recognize no limitations. We stress our individuality. And our way is more difficult and less popular, and we couldn't care less. You don't have to go this way, but if you want to, I want you to know it's available, and man, is it fun and it's rewarding. Way better than being a slave. See last night's deprogram. So what is darkness? Darkness is simply the natural complement to life, and it's not bad or evil. Darkness is simply aggressive, and we all have aggressive and passive within us. And one cannot truly understand themselves without understanding their aggressive nature. We can benefit and learn from others, but in the end, we are all on our own journey. That's why I've always said I can't unindoctrinate you. And enlightenment is a process, it's not a destination. And life should be enjoyed, not sacrificed. Life should be lived in happiness, not in fear. I forget what this thing's called, but you know what it's called. All right. Jeff, who are your gods and goddesses? I thought maybe I should share tonight. And as we leave tonight, I'll share with you my gods and goddesses. I don't worship these things, but I might. We're going to talk about that next week. Entering into economies, a little quid pro quo. You know, in the economy, when you invest in something, there is a universal law that thing must return investment in you. And that's all I'm going to give you for right now. The yin yang. Thank you. Yin yang. Thank you, Tyler 432. Let's talk about my gods and goddesses. Let's talk about the goddesses first. These are the ones that speak to me. Interestingly, they're all Celtic. Hello, missing you. The first one is Macha. That's a Celtic word meaning battle. And this is her right here. Macha. From left to right here, folks. Often confused with the Morrigan, Macha is a separate triple goddess. She's the goddess of war, the goddess of sexuality, the goddess of childbearing, and the goddess of horses. She appeals to me. I have affinity with Macha. I also have affinity with the Morrigan, which is a Celtic word meaning ghost queen, a goddess of battle, and a moon goddess. I've always been drawn to the moon. And then Saha. Saha. She is, it's a Celtic word known as she who strikes fear. This is Saha right here. Strikes a little something other than fear too, if you know what I mean. I'm joking. Sort of. Kind of. Saha is a goddess of war, goddess of martial arts. I've got 2 black belts. She's often associated with magic. Isn't that interesting? And then, folks, the gods that I relate to, the god Dawn. And interesting, my dad's name was Dawn. Very powerful to me. He had black hair like Dawn does. Dawn is known as the Dark One. Dawn is known as the Dark One. The god of death, a loner. Identified with Dagda, the great father, from whom all the Irish descended. And Dawn is the most feared god by Rome. Let me give you my belief. I can't confirm it or deny it. Well, Rods, am I right? The Rods say I'm right. I am convinced that Dawn is the original Odin. And the Odinic figure is not Norse, it's Irish. That's what I believe. And that's my God. That's my Dawn. And by the way, Dawn was the most feared god by Rome. And then, who's the other god that I have affinity with? Cernunnos, called the Horned One. He's associated with nature, virility, fertility. He's associated with shamanism. He's the consort of the great goddess. He is a type of Merlin. And we just had a beautiful friend, Merlin, leave us, our dog. An affinity with nature. An affinity with animals, especially the stag. Thank you, Peter. Dawn is mentioned in the movie Bullet Train. And if you notice, here is the Odoacarte coat of arms? Who's in the middle of the Didache coat of arms? A stag. And what's on top? A helmet and a sword. Do you think there's some type of a tie-in with why I have affinity with gods of battle and gods and goddesses of battle and war and the deal with stags? Do you think there's any interest in why there's 3 stars on our shield and I have 3 goddesses that I have affinity with? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Odoakarteg. It means the destroyers. We're the only clan that's never been conquered, and we never will. And we never will. Let me leave you with a little bit of inspiration. And hopefully I'll tick you off a little bit. The Judeo-Christian people have succeeded in deceiving the pagan people into becoming Gentiles. I am not a Gentile. I am not a Goyim. Those are their words, and I will not accept them. The Judeo-Christian people have succeeded in deceiving the pagan people into becoming Gentiles, cursing and blaspheming our true creator gods for centuries. The word Satan simply means enemy and adversary in Hebrew. I've showed you that 1,000 times. Everything in the Judeo-Christian Bible has been stolen from Gentile pagan religions predating Judaism from hundreds to thousands of years. Remember, they do not create. They have forcibly and successfully removed occult and spiritual knowledge and power from pagans using the Judeo-Christian religion as their primary tool. They've always used idiot pagans who allow themselves to become Gentiles to fight their wars for them, and most of the wars are idiot Gentile versus idiot Gentile, such as the world wars. In the same way, they've used Judeo-Christians to destroy pagan temples, spiritual libraries, and mass murder pagan peoples for the Judeo-Christian program. Christianity, from its very inception, was nothing more than a program. The idea of the program is for the destruction of Aryan people, using the destruction of Aryan people to prevent us from using occult power, and for the eventual enslavement of all remaining races. The Judeo-Christians have been using Kabbalistic black magic. Remember? Hakma, Bina, Da'ath. They've been using Kabbalistic black magic against pagans and have rendered us by backing us into that damn Kabbalistic tree of life, locking us down on our right, our left, and our center, by locking us down in Bina, Hokmah, and Da'ath. They've locked us down, and we've become powerless to fight back for 10 centuries, 1,000 years. We've been locked in a pit for 1,000 years. But the 1,000 years are over. Spiritual knowledge has been forcefully and systematically removed from Aryan peoples by the Inquisition, where Aryan peoples and spiritual leaders like the Druids and many others were tortured to death and murdered in mass. The white race has suffered the most with the witch trials, where entire villages were wiped out in Europe, Germany, New England. And here is something very, very interesting. Hello, Ida. Once one is a Christian, one becomes under the Judeo-Christian psychic influence and control. And the leaders of Judeo-Christianity know this. It establishes a powerful connection for the Judeo-Christians to take control of their enemies through curses and other psychic means, because Christianity establishes a powerful subliminal connection that very few people are aware of. That's why even smart people go stupid when they become Christian. You can show them in their actual Bible that it says, don't do what you do. And they're like, I don't know. You've seen it happen right here on this program. And that's why they never come on this show. That's why they never come on this show. Scott Lewis Smith, I hope you're joking, because that is really, really very unsophisticated. Do you really think it's the Democrats? Bro, you need to wake up. It's called the politicians, period. And the Jews will do anything and everything to appear to be enemies of Christianity. And the Christians, especially the white identity Christians, will do anything and everything to try to pretend to be the enemies of the Jews. But the reality is, it's called Judeo-Christianity for one reason, because it's the same game. It's just like the Republicans and the Democrats. Christianity is the root of Jewish power. Judaism is the root of Christian power. It's exactly the same. And this is the last slide. No, it's not. Judeo-Christianity can only be defeated through its age-old nemesis, which is Satan. And oh yeah, that's us. Because Satan is the Hebrew word for enemy. Satan wants occult knowledge and power back in the hands of the pagans. That's us. One can argue that the average Jew on the street is ignorant concerning this, as is the average Christian. But the truth is that the elite leaders of Judeo-Christianity know all about it and keep it a secret, even mostly from their own people. The Judeo-Christians have made our beautiful gods and goddesses into be hideous monsters. And remember, paganism preceded the Jewish invention of Christianity and Judaism itself by 49,000 years. And their God is not our God. And the fact is that the Bible God is truly the evil one. Wake up, people. Wake up. And if there's one thing the human race lacks now, it's true and good spiritual direction. The very worst paths on the fruited plain are the Abrahamic paths, steeped in their ridiculous prophecies, which, through the power of stealing your intentional and orgone energy, are being generated, these prophecies, into fulfillment. Gematria, numerology, used by the Hebrews, degenerated into the blackest of magic on the planet. It's got you locked down in that Kabbalistic tree of life, which I showed you. ETs aren't going to land here and dominate us. They don't need to. They can do it by invading and influencing our consciousness with the temptations they present to us. And remember, the Hebrews mean people from the other side, people from beyond. That means extraterrestrial. The consequences of destroying a race is quite epic in cosmic law. That's why they give us the rope to hang ourselves, and we've done it to ourselves. Shame on us. The Abrahamic narrative that has migrated into Jesus and Muhammad has become like a rugby match where every side's fighting for control of the ball. Here's the good news. When we realize what we've been through and who put us through it, which is what I do, helping you do so, the ability to come out the other end with a profit is highly likely. It's kind of ironic that the prophets might in the end profit us. And this story is long overdue, and a lot of different people have tried to hint at it, but just haven't had the balls to come right out and say it. And most of them don't have the balls to say it because they don't want to lose money. That energy that we have is a form of the spirit that animates our lives that we opened up this deep program talking about. Most people corrupt that spirit when they run it through their consciousness because they don't know what it is, and they don't know what they're doing. Then they give it away to the Judeo-Christian shit show. Our priestcraft in the Christian and Jewish worlds are hijacked by very dark forces. It's taken us a long time to figure it out, but the world is almost done with it. And can you blame it? We first need to hit rock bottom to gain the humility to admit that we have a problem. Welcome to rock bottom, folks. Look around. That was lifted from the light of darkness, a warrior's tale for our time that we will begin to talk about in the coming days and weeks and months and, yes, even years. Wow. That's a whole lot to take in, isn't it? That's a whole lot to take in. I'm trying to pace myself. What day is this? This is Thursday. Yeah. So we will pace ourselves and we will come back again tomorrow to give you some great deprogramming. Remember, you are not born with original sin. You've got the spark of the divine within. You're divine, you're sovereign, you're free. Don't go on bended knee to anybody else's savior. Unindoctrinate yourself. Create yourself. And get busy. This world's going to be better than it's ever been. Sooner than even we can imagine. We're just waiting on ourselves. I salute you for being here, seeking after truth. I'll see you again tomorrow night.